to. Well, hey everyone, Snoo here. I was getting ready to do part of my session for the day, and a viewer just contacted me saying that the Manifesto had been released. A little early, I think. It's Wednesday morning, early morning in Tokyo, which means it's still like Tuesday night. I thought the Balanced Manifesto wasn't coming out until Wednesday, something like midday, so I didn't even check to see if it had released. I actually did think about checking the moment I woke up, but I figured there was just no way it was going to come out. Well, it has come out, and I decided impromptu, I'm just going to react to it. Why not? Snoo reacts to the Balanced Manifesto. It's kind of a big deal. We just had 2 consecutive leagues where there basically the changes were made and nothing was changed for 2 leagues straight. This should be a big deal, really big deal in here. We're expecting a lot of nerfs, probably. I'm going to give you my honest reaction to it, and we're just going to scroll through it and read it right now. I think I might as well maximize the screen here. I got it pulled up right here, and I will link the thread in the description below in case for some reason you didn't know where to find the thread. Ironically, I didn't really know where to find the thread for a second. These things are always hard to navigate. But anyway, here we go. It says defense balance right off the bat. Okay. Let's take a look here. Let's see what they say. I'm just going to kind of scroll through this, kind of speeding through here. So they're happy with the direction of defenses, as opposed to just pure life stacking. That's good. I agree with that for sure. I never really like I never really like a game when max life is just the best defensive stat always, and there's like no balance to be made, and everything else is just inferior. Never really made a lot of sense to me. Kind of a bad mechanic. It was kind of that way in Diablo 3 a little bit, I remember. Thinking like vanilla back in the day. You always wanted something with a max vitality roll. It was. Okay, there's a problem here. So spell suppression is intended to be mostly accessible to characters on the right side of the passive tree, like me. However, spell suppression values on items are high enough that any character can reasonably oh, I see where they're going here. We don't want you to have spell suppression through items low and passives. Results in capped spell suppression feeling like a mandatory pickup for most characters when strong. Oh, okay, so whoop, bait and switch. Now they're going to nerf me. I see. Rather than mostly an option. Okay, reduced the values of spell suppression granted by item modifiers. Actually, that doesn't affect me because I have 100% spell suppression. I have 0 on my gear. But a big reason for that is because I'm a raider, so I get 40% for free. Raider Ascendancy, anyone? Just got buffed indirectly. Increase the amount of spell suppression granted by passive skill. Oh! They're going to buff me. First they were going to like nerf everyone else, then I thought they were going to nerf me instead, and now instead they're going to buff me. Wow. Okay, they're lowering the values that it can drop on the values of spell suppression on body armor and shield. Okay. Let me make sure I read this right. It's kind of confusing, actually. Let me see what it says on helmets, because that's actually relevant to me. Chance to suppress spell damage modifiers on dexterity helmets, boots, and gloves can now roll with values of +5 to 6% at lowest tier. Previous. Oh, okay. So it's a significant nerf. Okay. So 14% is the new high, where it was 22%. Okay. Okay. Doesn't really. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. 1 second. It's 5 years. I'm not even on. Back. It was yeah. Anyway, sorry about that. Well, just got a call from work. My daily schedule has been identified. Not particularly great, but I got plenty of time to get on with this video. Back to the topic at hand. We have spell suppression on topic. So, I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate. I guess I feel like spell suppression is going to nerf mostly everyone else other than me for the way I like to play. I usually like playing bow characters, so I'm always going to have access to it, and apparently they're buffing it on the passive skills. Let's take a look at that. There's some corrupted implicit nerfs and stuff, but anyway, down here it got the buffs 2 passive skills. Okay, so there are a few spell suppression wheels where I take where it's like 3% and now it's 4%. Okay, I mean, cool. It might save me a point at the end of the day. Better it. Okay, that's up. Okay, yeah. So that's the big spell suppression wheel. Not going to grant a lot more. My goodness, that's it's going to be 8. I think it's going to be a total of 11% more spell suppression, if I'm not mistaken, in total. That's nice. Let's see here. Okay, so it's just kind of going over all the different spell suppression notables down by the ranger tree area, and I think they're basically all in that area. A couple maybe kind of in the middle where the Scion is, but yeah. Just a whole bunch of stuff about spell suppression. Even on cluster jewels, things like that. They were buffed, apparently. Okay. Cool. Arctic armor doesn't really affect me. What does it say, though? Substantially increase the amount of damage reduction while stationary. Okay. Okay. For channeling builds, I guess. Anyway, not that interested in Arctic armor. Flesh and stone is not powerful enough. Okay, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Let's see what they're doing to flesh and stone here. Since it grants 1 to 20. Okay. Okay, so it kind of doubled it, I guess. Uh-oh. What they do to Defiance Banner? Provides substantial percentage increase to armor and evasion on top of other benefits for low investment. Yes. It therefore grants all characters a way to further scale. Okay, yep. It disproportionately benefits characters that do not have easy access to it. Yeah. Yeah, definitely benefits me when I try to scale armor, for sure. And wing combined with determination grace slots. That's combination. Yep, feeling mandatory for in hardcore leagues. People are gonna be so triggered with that. No, you talk about all leagues. People are gonna be so triggered when they see that they they put the adjective hardcore leagues. You mean like every league? I can just see people saying that. Yeah. And very attractive elsewhere. Okay, yeah. Save face a little bit there with that comment. Substantially reduce the armor. Alright. Previously 30 to 49, now 15 to 24. Yikes! Increase the reduced critical strike chance? I was like, what? Okay. Ouch, they even nerfed the anomalous quality. Gee. Okay, alright. I mean, I was, you know, to be completely honest, I was thinking about dropping Defiance Banner. I honestly would have dropped Defiance Banner in my current setup if it wasn't for the crit immunity, essentially, for nearby attacks. But, yeah, it wouldn't be a terrible idea. Anyway, let's continue. Wind Dancer. Drawback of taking 20% away if you've been hit by it is too risky to make a keystone. Ooh. What are they doing? Wind Dancer to be less risky. Wind Dancer no longer provides 40% more evasion if you have been hit by attack. Instead, now provides 10% more chance to evade attacks if you've been hit by an attack recently. I get that the wording on that makes it so the number is probably higher because it's just like a flat amount. So like basically, yeah. So what this is if you're already stacking, you got like 87% evasion. You're gonna go cap to 95 basically. 95% is the cap. So it allows high evasion characters to essentially cap their evasion fairly easily without investing some insane amount. And I mean that's kind of cool, but. I thought they were going to address the downside. So they didn't address the downside? Okay. Aerodancing. I can't even remember what that is. 40% more chance to evade or 20% less chance. Oh, right, okay. not good for anyone who wants to, like, you know, point blank stuff. It's doubled against project. Okay. Ward is a relatively niche defensive mechanic. Yes, that's true. I never really considered Ward for any of my characters. I mean, there's a potential it could be good. So you're just making Ward better? Okay, altogether better. And that may put it on the map, you know, potentially. I mean, it's possible. Let's see here. Grasping Mail modifiers that provide 100% global defense provide too much value to a build. Heavily investing in defenses for a single mod slot. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's a niche item. Prefix modifier that can roll Grasping Mails has a value of 50%. Oh, ho, ho. Existing items can be made worse with a Divine Orb. Yeah, I'm on early. Gravis, just okay. Another major nerf here to the body armor veiled mod. To a low investment of single bench. Yep. Rework the gravity and instead grant a percentage of physical damage taken as fire and lightning. Oh no! Feel bad for people who like crafting chests. I used to. I never really went for either of these two mods with any of my builds or crafts even back in the day. So personally, I don't really care. But I know that a lot of people are going to care about that. It's going to hurt a lot of evasion-based builds. The Gravis mod is huge for evasion builds that have both high evasion and life. Or high life into evasion anyway. Silent Steps notable passive. Okay, I never mess with blind. Mind over matter. Okay, where the change is not resolved. Again, I mean, there's so much about this game I don't know. These keystones and stuff, I don't even remember what they are. Okay, 40% damage taken from mana before life. That's right, I remember that now. Again, I've never used a build with this before. These are like, so they're really messing with like some of the higher niche mechanics that are really cool and interesting, and they're kind of gutting them a bit, aren't they? Fortification is too difficult to gain for some melee builds and too frustrating to use for others. Make fortification easier to gain and longer lasting. Wow, so we're going to revert some of the buffs? I mean, some of the nerfs? Yeah. Okay, basically double the effectiveness of fortification gain. That's going to be a big deal, looks like. And increase the duration by like 20%. Okay, Minion Balance. Oh, Gazzy's quaking in his boots. Minion builds historically get most of their power from their gems and didn't have any strong options to benefit from finding better items. Okay. To improve the variety of minion builds. Okay, there are limited options. Vest. Yep. Okay. Solution. Lower minion base life and damage, but provide more ways for players to invest into minions in their own gear, allowing minion damage and survivability. Yeah, that's going to piss a lot of people off. So they're taking a build archetype that is already, I don't want to say exclusive, but predominantly used by people who are very casual and don't really play the game enough to invest in their gear, and they're going to nerf it at a baseline level. And they're going to say, well, you know, if you want to have a better, you know, you can have an even better character than before, you just got to play the game a whole bunch and get a whole bunch of gear, and then you can... So it really goes against the grain of the typical player who would play a minion build to begin with. Because now their starting league start, I guess, scenario is they're going to be much weaker than they were before. That's kind of crazy that they did that. I can kind of see why they do it, because I guess minions are uniquely good. Minion builds are uniquely good at a casual level for multiple reasons. One reason is because they don't require much gear to hit a certain baseline of strength in the build. So they're going to lower that baseline. And then, yeah, increase it. So, you know, it makes sense from the perspective of someone who, you know, has no problem grinding through the tough times and getting good gear. But I don't know. I mean, that was like the one archetype that was, you know, there for all those people. Yeah, I bet people are raging like crazy, aren't they? We'll see. There'll be some comments on at the end of this, I'm sure. Yeah, let's see here. We got okay, I'm not going to read that because I'm not really that interested in minion builds. Minion skills are outliers. I wonder about Animate Guardian, though. I want to see that. Minions attacks now deal something something. Yeah, okay, I don't really care about that. Anything else about Animate Guardian? I don't think so. Okay. I would prefer not for Animate Guardian to not be the meta, to not be the best thing I can do. It's really annoying with like losing it and like losing all the gear you had in it. It's cool. I like the fact that it exists. I don't like it being the best thing for like a non-minion build. You know, like last league, I used, not this previous league, but the league before, Arch Nemesis League, I used Animate Guardian in my body armor setup with a Stone Golem, and it was really cool. It worked out nice. It was good because there was no... I was doing content that was kind of safe and easy. I didn't lose the Animate Guardian very often. I got a lot of value out of him, but this past league I couldn't do it. It was too rippy. Just too rippy. It's okay because I found kind of a cool thing to do with low life and magic finding that way. Anyway. Let's see. Let's move on here. Necromancer. Alright, I'm sorry. I'm just not really that interested in minion stuff. I kind of want to blow through this. We got trap stuff. Okay, so Fire Trap. People were talking about how they thought Fire Trap was going to get nerfed. Probably going to get the nerf bat. Yep. Okay, there we go. So... they are putting Fire Trap in its place. I see. Cooldown based traps. Is this going to be a seismic trap thing here? Maybe? No? That might be an indirect nerf to seismic trap. Not sure. I'm not a trap player either. Explosive Arrow. I did look into a little bit of that. Let's see what they said here. Has a single stat for ailment. This makes it impossible to reduce the damage of overpowering ignite builds. Also affecting split the hit and ailment bonus into 2 stats. I don't really know what that means because I didn't dig deep into Explosive Arrow, but I'm going to go on a limb and guess that's probably a nerf. just a wild guess. Whatever they did to that. Cast on Death support. I remember seeing a video of that. Okay, the meme build that was killing Uber bosses with ease. Anomalous alternate quality makes it too easy to guarantee a critical strike for boss killing builds using Cast on Death. Oh, no. Critical strike chance of 0 to 10 from 0 to 100. Wrecked. Oh my god, absolutely ripped. You can't even get it up to 100% with ashes and all kinds of stuff. Wow. Divine Blessing support. Now this is a gem I was thinking about using. Let's see what it says here. Intended players who do not wish to reserve much of their mana to still use an aura by casting aura. Oh, okay, yeah. And it's really annoying. Regional auras are there, therefore usually require spending a large portion of your maximum mana. Yes, however, due to technical limitation, the cost is still calculated. That's a lot of text. Anyway, solution. Prevent life tap support from supporting blessing skills. So they don't want you to have the free the free aura. They're just going to remove it from the game. Okay. I decided not to do this. I did use this for like actually one farming video. I got really annoyed by it though because it was kind of dangerous, you know, to like pull your life down real low, and it also makes you stop and cast for a split second. Even with a raider, even with a ton of cast speed, it was still annoying as hell to me. So blessing skills can no longer supported by life tap. So now you have to have a certain unreserved amount of mana and use it with mana. I mean, that just seems dumb. Just seems absolutely dumb. I didn't think it was like a gimmick to use it with on the life tap support, but anyway. I guess that's over. I don't see anybody using that. Problem. Sniper's Mark. Okay, this is highly relevant to me. Provides a large amount of power to projectile builds. Yes, it does. But also provides a powerful flask charge generation. Well, if you want to just remove that, I'm totally fine. Generating flask charges in particular provides a lot of mostly hidden power for builds utilizing Sniper's Mark. I didn't know that. I thought you get flask charges just by killing like 100 monsters a second. Wasn't that good enough? Even though it is rarely consideration when deciding whether or not to use a skill in a build. True, because I didn't even... This might sound crazy, but I didn't even know Sniper's Mark affected your flask generation. If I read that line, it goes completely over my head. It means nothing to me. Maybe it does, and I don't realize it, but for now it means that. It probably does mean something to me when I get an 8-mod corrupted map rolled with 80% less flask charge generation or something like that, but otherwise, no. Okay, so what are you going to do? Remove the life and mana flask charge generation. Sniper's Mark may see these stats appear again in the future. Fine. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. So they're not really nerfing Sniper's Mark, not in its important factors, I guess. Fair. I don't know. Maybe there's some people freaking out about it. This is a lot of nerfs, though. I mean, this is a lot of nerfs we're reading in here so far. Miscellaneous Ascendancy balances. Oh, Trickster and Juggernaut. What? They're finally going to do something with these? By changes, the cost of increasing left lacking. Okay. Rework the Trickster Ascendancy, focusing more tightly on thematic, appropriate defenses and speed. Details will be shared in the 319 reveal livestream. And Juggernaut. Overly complicated, therefore requires... they're only going to mess with one Juggernaut Ascendancy. So Trickster's getting a total rework. They're not ready to present it yet. And then Juggernaut... I don't really know. I mean, is that really a buff? It doesn't... Just at a glance, that doesn't seem like it's all that good. Not very interested in playing Juggernaut, so... Chieftain. Pathfinder. So they're not nerfing anything. They're just... I mean, they're not nerfing any Deadeye or Raider stuff. They're actually kind of trying to focus on buffing ascendancies. So it looks like or at least at a glance, I guess supposedly that's what they're doing. They're buffing everything. They're buffing the unusable skills by an amount that's probably still not usable. Pathfinder. Dead one now, Magic Utility Flask have 20% increased effect. You know, it's kind of cool, actually. Nature's Boon, no longer against 6% reduced damage. Take it. Unique item balance. Crystallize, Omniscience, and Ashes of Star are powerful unique amulets that have both been adopted as a wide variety of builds at the top 1%, yes, since their introduction of Siege of Atlas. However, while Ash of Star is relatively standalone item that enhances individual strengths of build, Crystallized Omniscience encourages players to devote a substantial portion of their build towards stacking attributes. Yeah, very cool niche mechanic. Thanks GGG for giving that to us for a limited time. It also makes it easy to do so by providing elemental resistance, which would otherwise... okay. This reduces the diversity of itemization. This makes itemization incredibly convenient, is what you mean to say. Lower the amount of elemental penetration and resistances granted by crystallized omniscience with the aim of it still being powerful but not the ideal choice for such large variety of builds. Now grants 1% to all elemental resistances per 15 omniscience, previously per 10. 33% nerf. Okay. I can't wear it anymore. Not with my current gearing threshold. I won't even have enough attributes to equip my bow. I'll have to change the build a little bit, I think, because I'll go from like right around 1,000 omniscience all the way down to 700. I have to have at least like 800 or 850 to equip the bow, spine bow. So, you know, rip. I guess. Rip. Excuse me. Problem, melding of the flesh is a unique jewel. Okay, yeah, people were talking about how this had too much of a synergy with Hagus. Probably outperformed. Yep. Add a penalty to maximum, forcing you builds that want to reach 90% or more, commit more of their build to reaching it. Now has a minus 4% to 6%. I changed this. Oh, to all maximum element resistance. Oh God. This change does not affect existing version. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, it doesn't really affect me personally. So I guess it's not really addressing the Aegis interaction with it, but okay. Miscellaneous character item balances. Brittle. Yeah, I don't use brittle, but a lot of people do. Brittle has begun to overshadow other. Reduce the amount of critical strike chance provided by brittle will make it comparable with scorching shock. Oh my God. They wrecked brittle. Wow. Okay. Now brittle was like total overkill anyway. So it's not that big of a deal, but holy crap, to go from 15% to 6%. They nerfed it by more than half. The introduction to reservation. The introduction of reservation efficiency has encouraged a much larger range of builds to invest in reservation skills to a smaller, moderate degree. This is not a problem in itself. But currently, the options for doing so are similar for every build and provide slightly too much generic power relative to the investment required. Reservation mastery options are the biggest outliers in power as they provide large amounts of power than entire notable passive skills. Remove the mana reservation efficiency mastery and reduce the power of aura effect and life reservation efficiency masteries. Okay. Actually, that doesn't bother me really at all, because if they still keep, because I was thinking about like making builds for the future. If they keep the life mastery in there, that's fine. So far, right now, there's a mastery that reserves a whopping 30% of the life, and because I'm doing like low life builds, or beginning to do that, it's actually really convenient for me. That is going to affect the build guide, though, for sure, because now I'll have to change things. What's to do with the manifesto? Well, I'm going through that right now, my friend. Let's see here. Introduction of... I don't know exactly what this means. It's just one mastery. Like, there's only one mastery that... I either get the 15% mana reservation mastery, the 10% or 15% effect, or 10% effect, or the 30% life reservation mastery. So if they're just straight up removing the mana reservation efficiency mastery, or effect and life reservation efficiency masteries. So okay, so I guess what they're doing is they're just getting rid of them on the board. Oh, there's details here, so I should probably read that. Has been removed. Reservation mastery grants life is now 20% instead of 30%. Okay, that's still all right. It's still all right. The cause is going to have increased effective value of 10%. Previously 15. Okay, so now it's 10. So basically now as a master, you're going to take 10% increased effect instead of 15% mana reservation, or you're going to take 20% reservation. Except unless you're not using any kind of life reservation. Problem: the line of flask modifiers that grant flask charges when you get hit by enemies too easy to keep your flask. Yeah, okay. The flagellants flask prefix. Okay. 1, 2, 3 from 4, 6, 7. Get wrecked. I don't even think that's that big of a deal, honestly. I mean, I don't know. Is there a huge difference between 3 versus 7? Maybe. Now, if they had made it so like there was an internal cooldown to this, that would have been a big deal. But I don't see this being a huge deal. Just get hit twice as often. Problem. Veiled and crafted modifiers that cause skills to cost no mana or life while focused. Oh, well, focus. Okay. Well, I thought they were gonna I thought they were gonna nuke the minus flat mana cost veiled mod to rings and amulets, but no, I guess not. The importance of skill cost. As mentioned, we originally planned to disable them, but this was pushed back. Solution. Non-aura skills cost no mana or life while focused. Can no longer appear with modifier of amulets, and the nerfed versions are no longer available. Crafted versions no longer available. Okay, I don't know. That might have been in some crazy niche build that were using that, but okay. The timeless jewel exclusive Chainbreaker is too difficult to properly use while also limiting the potential to provide. I actually was just looking at this a while back. Rework Chainbreaker to lean into rage as a resource in a more extreme manner and remove potentially unwanted interactions. That's a big deal, and I'm actually going to look at this here. It now grants 1 rage generated for every 25 mana regeneration per second. Mana recovery from regeneration is not applied, and skills cost +3 rage. Yeah, still bad. Still sounds bad. I was really hoping to see something in there about like rage on hit, or I don't know, something better than just passive per second. Okay, it's good they're trying to make it better. Yeah, it looked like it was too bad at the time. Damage taken recouped as life is a relatively new recovery option. There are not currently enough sources of it available for players who wish to invest heavily into it. Improve the availability of the stat by adding it to the jewel modifier. Oh, wow, a buff. It's actually a buff. Except for people who are trying to roll other things like jewel, and now there's an extra modifier clogging up the pool. Other than that, the buff. We'll include this list of changes and potentially more, or update to these in the full patch notes before the release. A bit more detail about some areas, such as the improvements to the Trickster Ascendancy class, will be revealed in the Lake of Kalandra announcement live stream next week. Let's see what some of the comments are. Let's go. Very excited. Really? That's a plant. Wokage. Really? Let's go. Yes. Sag. Pog. Let's go. Pog Festa. I guarantee those people didn't even read it, because they were like, first. Once we get to somebody who actually read it. Smart play. Huh. Nerf 5-way XP. Oh my god. I don't, where's all the screams? Where's all the freaking out? Nice Manifesto. Oh, here we go. Yeah. You don't even care about our feedback. Stop pretending that. Nerfesto. Alright, so these are the people that actually read it. Cool nerfs, Chris. Ah, yes. Even more unplayable League. Thanks a lot. Where are the Parandus League changes? What is he even talking about? Wasn't the most logical thing to do was to not reserve 25%? He means lower the reservation. Wow, hope new item counterbalance some nerf. Nice English, bro. Rip R's minions ES is extra life. Yeah, that was pretty big. I don't like the mana reservation changes. I guess nerfing something is easier than buffing notable passive skills. We'll probably take a break this league. These changes are crippling my builds. Wasn't the only thing they did was nerf the mastery? For, like, just the mastery got nerfed. That's it, isn't it? Damage in this game is too insane. So player investment in a lot of defensive layers is mandatory. The final straw is minion nerf. I think this is the final straw for me. God, I hope Diablo 4 is good. Yeah, that was rough. Bro, I don't see any real buffs here. Were you expecting any? They nerfed minions and DB. Just another patch of nerfs. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, just so many. Now I'm glad I'll depart into this vacation with the family on Seaside. I'm skipping all of this. Oh, won't someone think of the minions? The poor minions. I can't wait to see what Gazzy says about all this. Yeah, 15% is insane on League Start. Mana reservation. Yeah, that's true. That is true. It is on League Start situation. For sure. Defenses are gone. Finally, we can focus on off-screening and utilizing our portals. I respect this choice. Nice. Nice comment. BS Festo. Juggernaut changes Pog. Okay, so I guess they were good. I don't know. So you don't want the Necromancer to be the only class playing minions despite all the minion skills being placed in the witch area. I'm getting the sense that... Yeah, okay, so let's get into final thoughts. That's enough on that. So I'm going to kind of screen through this all again real quick. So my final thoughts here are... I actually took a second and commented about the minion thing and how that's going to affect people. That to me is probably the most controversial thing they're doing in here because, like I said before, minion skills are just naturally attract more casual players. Players who want to play more relaxed gameplay, not quite with as much agency in the player needed. We can just kind of sit back, relax, let the minions do the work. And it just so happens that minion skills were, as mentioned in the Manifesto, their power predominantly comes from the gem levels and those types of builds where that is the case. Do not scale particularly well, generally. And so they are, to make up for that, they're a little bit more powerful at the low-end budget, which feeds very nicely into the casual mindset, casual gameplay, where you're never really playing the game, you know, significantly enough to get, like, tons of great upgrades for your gear. And why should you? You know, if the game's not really rewarding you all that much for, like, compared to Tornado Shot, which is, you know, starts off kind of junky in its damage, but then scales exceptionally well. So I want to play a skill like Tornado Shot because I'm not playing casually. I'm actually, like, playing the game to get a lot of upgrades. And that's not the way minion players typically play. Now, people like Gazzy are kind of an exception to that rule. So he'll be extremely happy, I suspect, with that aspect of being more rewarded for investing in the gear. But I'm pretty sure, like, the vast majority of minion players are going to be super upset with this change. They like the fact that their archetype of choice already by playstyle is now that happened to also be their choice because of its starting off so powerful and not scaling so well. They didn't feel like they needed to play the game day and night to make those kind of builds work. They are going to start off much weaker than they were before. And, you know, a very select few of minion players are going to probably grind through that. Now, I don't know the degree. I've never played a minion build. I don't really know the degree by which it was nerfed. But it sounds kind of significant with what I saw in there. Spell suppression was another big thing that could affect me directly. It looked like, actually, in my case, I received a buff. It kind of sounds like I'm going to get probably like 2 passive points freed up, which is, at the level of play I do, that's actually a pretty huge deal. Now, that doesn't sound like much to most people, probably. Oh boy, 2 passive points freed up. Bro, if I could level to 102, that would do so many things for my build. I'm not even kidding. So, anyway, that's kind of a big deal. It's really doubled down on the Ranger, getting all the access to spell suppression, and they just made it harder for everybody else. It's going to be a huge nerf to a lot of other builds. But I don't know. I guess thematically, it's kind of dumb how, you know, you have, like, all the energy-based and strength-based characters also, you know, like, also all getting 100% spell suppression. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it does when you realize how powerful it is. They could have... I would have been fine, like, if they would have nerfed spell suppression. I was expecting them to nerf it, and that would have been a better thing they could have done, I think, was to just, instead of making it reduce 50%, make it reduce, like, 20% or 30% of spell damage, and then just reduce all spell damage across the board from enemies by, like, 15 or 20%, and kind of even things out. Maybe make it, you know, make it still a good stat, but nowhere near strong. But instead, they're just ripping it away from non-thematic ascendancies, I guess. Defiance banner, huge nerf. I'm cool with that. It's only 10%. I wouldn't mind having a 10% reservation efficiency back in my hands. Definitely fine with that. It was kind of a hard nerf, but it was a total no-brainer for like 10% reservation efficiency. I wouldn't have mind if they would have like... See, they can't do this. They can't like increase the reservation efficiency because there's other banners. But like in a vacuum, it would have been fine, I think, if they would have increased it to 25%. Defiance banner is way better than Flesh and Stone, for example. So why wouldn't... It would make sense for Flesh and Stone to be 10% reservation and Defiance banner to be 25% reservation, in my opinion. But again, that would be pretty hard on the reservation. So they're also nerfing reservation efficiency. Yeah, honestly, I feel like it came out fairly unscathed with the reservation efficiency thing. It's going to hurt a lot, losing 15%, but there's so many different ways to get reservation efficiency. It's really just going to hurt, ironically, the early game. So the players who, you know, like getting a lot of ores early on with low investment are hurt the most. Once you reach a higher level investment, it's much easier to get reservation efficiency from a variety of different places. You know, things as extreme as the Chaos Inoculation Impossible Escape gem, you know, like things like that. But you're not going to see that early on in the league. As far Tornado Shot wasn't affected, I'm happy to see that. That was kind of my biggest fear, is that they were going to do some sort of direct nerf to Tornado Shot. But again, I didn't think they were going to, because the skill is so... its power is purely in its scaling. So GGG doesn't really have a problem with skills that scale exceptionally well, so long as a baseline, they're by the numbers, they're clearly like below average, actually. Sniper's Mark, I don't mind the changes to that. And the other major big thing, of course, is Omniscience. So I guess they didn't affect Ashes of a Star. You know, I may honestly run Ashes of a Star now in my build. I was trying to figure out if maybe there was a potential alternative quality setup I could have. There's not really that many gems I use inherently. There's things like Divergent Withering Step, but can't get 100% on there, I don't think, even with Ashes of the Star. So probably not. I think you only get up to like 80%, something like that. So I don't know if Omniscience is going to be the go-to here. It's certainly going to be cheaper than it was last league, so that's nice, I guess. But the biggest problem... So I don't mind Omniscience being less valuable. The biggest problem for me is going to be the actual... what is it? The requirement to equip the item. So that I may have an issue with that. I wish they would have raised that from 15 to 25, to like 20 to 30, for example, or something like that. That would have been a huge help for that. So that would be my major feedback for that. Yeah. So yeah. Final thoughts. I see a lot of nerfs. I don't see hardly any buffs. Ascendancy buffs were basically the only thing. There's going to be a whole lot of screaming and yelling on Reddit, I'm sure, already. I can get a nice glimpse of that by just checking out the responses on this thread. But that is my reaction to this. Thinking in terms of the immediate effect on me, it is definitely... The mastery reservation changes are definitely going to affect how I have to do a build guide, as far as the opening guide to it. Because that was absolutely a mastery I took, and it's going to affect how many R's it can fit at a league start situation. I think before I had Determination, Grace, Defiance Banner, and Herald of Ice. Those were the 4 I was running, and now I'm not going to be able to run those, at least not straightforwardly. So I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more before that. So yeah, no major changes here. I think I'm still probably going to run Soul Thirst, Tornado Shot, Deadeye, and at a league start, and I'm going to produce a full-fledged build guide for that. It looks like we're pretty safe to do that. I'll start working on that next week. Still got to finish out the 1000 Crimson Temple maps for that, though. But anyway, there you go. That's the story. That's my reaction. That's all for now. Thank you for checking out the video.